My team recently got an email from a gentleman named Jameson who had set up his nomad capitalist lifestyle in a couple cities around the globe, and he asked, Andrew, is it possible for me to change my base cities in the future? I'm going to tell you how I would answer Jameson's question in this video. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you'd like to learn how to work with my team and I to develop your own Nomad Capitalist strategy, you can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. Now, before I answer Jameson's email, let me explain what we're talking about here for those of you who may not be familiar. What we talk about here in living the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle is that while it's certainly possible to travel around the world enjoying the lifestyle and financial benefits of being nomadic by just dragging a suitcase with you, a lot of folks prefer to have a home base that they can travel from. Some people like to have two bases. We talk about my trifecta model where you have three different home bases you spend time in. The possibilities are endless, really. And so what Jameson is saying is he's following my trifecta model. He has gone out and, according to his email, purchased in one case, rented in the other two cases homes, and he's traveling between those homes. But what he referenced is, hey, what if there's a tax law change in one of these countries and it no longer is as tax friendly as it is when I moved there? Because obviously that's a reason some folks move to certain countries. They want to gain tax benefits. They want to keep more of their own money, stop paying 50% of their income, right? He says, what if there's a tax law change? Can I move? He says, can I change my bases, basically? And the answer is yes. What I want people to really think about is that, there's not as much permanence to the nomad capitalist lifestyle as some people like to think. Sometimes I'm helping folks out with their plans, and it involves them needing to move somewhere. And I'll suggest, hey, you know what? Based on what you're telling me, based on all the criteria you've given me, here are one or two places that I think would fit the bill. They're tax friendly. They would serve your needs. You can afford to be there. Gives you everything you want. And I try and avoid, forcing people to go to one place. Sometimes there's so many criteria that we narrow it down to one or two, which is great. But where the challenge with that is folks feel locked in at times, as if you move to Malaysia and you're stuck there for the rest of your life, right? There's not as much permanence with this stuff as you would think. So if you're Jameson, or if you are, yourself, and you're watching this and you're thinking, I'd like to set up a base in a given city, understand that for whatever reason in the future, if that base no longer serves you, you can simply go somewhere else. And so, in my video, 4 different ways to be a nomad, we talk about all the different ways to be a nomad. If you haven't watched that, you should probably check that out to understand all the different ways to live this lifestyle. But let's just say you lived what I call the expat lifestyle. You moved to one base and you spent most of your time there. If your goal was tax savings, moving to France wouldn't be a very good base because you're just going to end up paying a lot of taxes in France. On the other hand, a place like Dubai or maybe Costa Rica would be a better fit because you can take advantage of the tax-friendly climate there, okay? And so if Costa Rica decides to go crazy and have a bunch of new taxes, you could simply decide to move out of Costa Rica. You don't have to hitch yourself to Costa Rica for the rest of your life. You're free to move. Likewise, if you decide one day, hey, living on the beach in Costa Rica no longer serves me, maybe I'd like more of a city vibe, you can not only reduce the amount of time you spend in Costa Rica, as I've done with some of my bases. Hey, you know what? I like Tbilisi. I don't want to live here 5 months a year anymore. I'm going to shrink it down. Or you can simply pack up and leave Costa Rica for good. There are so many different options, and I think that people sometimes have a hard time getting their head around this. You don't need to declare a reason when you leave the country. You simply take your stuff and you go, whether it's eliminating the base, reducing time spent in the base, whether it's for tax reasons because they have some new tax law, whether you just decide you'd like to live somewhere else. What I've done is I started with one base and I traveled around from there, and then I said, let me travel less, let me get a second base, then a third base, then a fourth base. To me, the beauty of this lifestyle is it's both scalable, but you can also reduce the scale, okay? You can scale it up, scale it down. even if I have numerous homes around the world, if later I decided I just want to live in one of those homes, I could find, a tax-friendly country where I wanted to live. I could find one of the homes that suits that criteria, and I could rent the others out. I could sell them. I could just keep them there in case I change my mind again. I think really the big answer to can I change the places where I live is of course you can. Now, in some cases, Malaysia, for example, you might go and you might do an MM2H residence program where you're putting in 300,000 ringgit into a bank deposit. And in that particular case, if you ever decide you want to cancel your 10-year permit, you could just go and you say, hey, I want to cancel my permit and please give me permission to take my money to the bank. It takes not very long, less than a month. And then you go and take that to the bank. The bank cancels your term deposit. Maybe you lose some interest if you're canceling in between, the renewal period. But the bottom line is you can get your money back, no muss, no fuss, pretty quickly. Other countries, it may take a while longer. Some countries require you to buy real estate to become a resident, or buy bonds that have a 5-year term on them, or do something where, okay, it might take you a while to get the money you invested back. There are other residence programs where all you need to do to live there is show an income or show money to the bank. And then sometimes if you don't spend that much time in your bases, you might just choose to go there on a tourist visa. So those are considerations that you want to keep in mind. Again, you might need to take a little bit of time to get any investments you made in that country out, but you can go wherever you want. That's the big takeaway. Don't look at anything as permanent. When I decided to leave the United States physically, beyond just having a home there and traveling the majority of the year, when I said, I'm selling the house, I'm packing everything up, I'm leaving for good. Do you know what I said? I've told you this story before. I gave myself 1 year. And I told my family and friends, I'm going on a 1-year adventure. And I knew that I wanted it to be permanent, but I gave myself that out, that I could always come back. And I think that's a great way to look at it. You can go and try a place on. You can go and try several places on. You can go and set up your bases. And if you change your mind later, you can always do that. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.